Interior kitchen day. A modern kitchen matching cabinets and a drawer lines the walls in an island. The floors are hardwood. There's an empty bottle of champagne on the counter. Merriment can be heard, but in a muffled way. There's a dinner party in the other room. Music plays, people laugh, glasses clink. There's a dead man lying on the ground, one leg contorted. This is Bradley, mid-20s, a tall, well-groomed chauvinist who, even in death, looks smug. He appears to have died of a stab wound to the chest. Blood has soaked his shirt and is spreading in the pool on the floor. The clicking of heels can be heard, the sound of a door opening, a woman screams. Exterior house, hours earlier. The scream continues. A woman with short blonde hair. This is Beatrice, mid-20s, well-dressed, but looking unamused, her usual deadpan expression on her face, broken only by humor of a dry and dark nature. She is holding a cake. The scream is coming from a petite brunette woman who has opened the front door of her house and holds her arms out for a hug. She is beaming, mouth open, and lets the scream out. This is Amelia, mid-20s, dramatic in behavior and dress, dripping in jewels. She has always gotten everything she wanted. Beatrice reaches up to put some hair behind the ear. She smiles a forced, fake, toothy smile.
Are my ears bleeding?
Amelia's scream ends, but her face stays frozen in excitement, arms still outstretched. Amelia's eyes flit hungrily to the cake in Beatrice's hands. Her heels click as she takes a few steps back to let Beatrice into her house. Interior foyer continuous. The two women embrace each other for a hug.
Oh my God, I can't believe it has been so long. I am so happy to see you.
I know, we should start doing this more than once a year. Where's Charles?
Amelia looks at the cake again.
Charles is already here. He's preparing some champagne in the kitchen.
Oh, great. I'll bring this in.
Beatrice walks briskly into the kitchen.
Charles, it's Beatrice.
Interior kitchen continuous. She loops around the island smoothly, setting the cake down near a man standing behind the island. Beatrice pulls a large knife out of a drawer, testing the sharpness of the edge with a finger. The man opens a bottle of champagne with a pop, his back to her. Beatrice puts the knife back, saunters over, and kisses the man on the cheek, with a hand on his shoulder. This is Charles, mid-20s, suave, if a little entitled, dapper as ever.
You don't stand a chance tonight.
Charles scoffs as he pours 4 glasses of champagne hurriedly. They sit on a little tray.
Well, aren't we confident this evening?
A smirk on her face, Beatrice keeps walking, back out to the foyer. A glass fills the screen, champagne fills the glass. Interior foyer continued. Beatrice looks around before taking her coat off. She hangs the coat on the back of a chair and sets a roll of duct tape from her pocket on the seat. Amelia notices, and to distract her, Beatrice takes her hand excitedly.
Do you have a plan? Charles is convinced he is going to win again.
Only time will tell.
Amelia winks and smiles. She squeals. Charles explodes through the kitchen door holding a tray of champagne glasses. Amelia claps her hands excitedly.
The competition!
Beatrice smiles politely and holds her hands out, waiting for a glass. Charles hands out the champagne. The tray has only 1 glass left on it. He sets the tray and a glass on a nearby table and raises the glass in his hand.
A toast.
The 3 friends raise their glasses.
The 3 of us made a pact a while back that we would do anything to better this sad planet.
May we continue to do anything to better this sad planet.
The 3 clink glasses and take delicate sips. Charles and Beatrice lock eyes in acknowledgement of each other as competition. Charles has an eyebrow slightly raised and Beatrice's eyes narrow subtly.
Not that we are perfect, but none of us is as lacking in moral fiber as...
A sharp knock on the door.
Bradley Wilder.
Bradley.
Amelia opens the front door. There stands Bradley, leaning against the door frame, a cocky grin on his face.
Just in time for bubbly.
Bradley breezes towards Emily, removes his sports coat, and tosses it at Beatrice without a glance.
Be a doll. Hang that somewhere, would you?
Beatrice smiles sweetly.
Of course. I'm so excited to see you. Typical.
Bradley and Amelia hug. Beatrice rolls her eyes and grimaces, facing away from the group. Charles hands Bradley the lone glass of champagne. Beatrice walks to a nearby bedroom and opens the door. She tosses the coat inside and closes the door quickly. Interior sitting room continuous. A white room with a sofa and a few chairs surrounding a glass coffee table. A book detailing the photographic history of Chanel sits atop a large book about Paris. Bradley and Amelia enter the room holding champagne, led by Charles. They surround the coffee table and lean toward each other. Beatrice follows, surveying every inch of the room.
A toast to friendship, to you 3, for being the only people worth a second thought.
Charles and Beatrice exchange glasses, but the 4 clink glasses.
Friendship like ours truly make the world a better place.
Amelia, standing next to Bradley, widens her eyes and stares into her glass, trying not to laugh.
So, Bradley, you said you had news.
I do. I've involved myself in a new venture, thanks to Charles' generous investment.
He swallows and prepares himself. Charles stares expectantly, waiting for the news.
Kids these days have so much expandable income.
Amelia and Beatrice lower their glasses a little and stare blankly.
Do any of you know just how addicting pills can be?
Charles chokes a little bit on his champagne. Beatrice's mouth opens a little. She stares up at him through her eyebrows in disbelief.
For the love of God.
Bradley downs his champagne casually. He sets his glass on the table. Amelia grabs it and stands.
You need another drink.
She floats into the kitchen. Interior kitchen continuous. Amelia picks up and opens a new champagne bottle with a pop. She pours a glass for Bradley. She pulls a glass vial full of clear liquid from a drawer and dumps it into his drink. She speeds back towards the door. She stops. She sees Beatrice's dessert. Beatrice appears in the doorway.
Help yourself. Why resist?
Amelia pulls a fork and knife out and cuts a slice of cake before taking a bite excitedly. Beatrice smiles and backs back into the other room. Amelia leaves the rest of the slice on the platter with the uncut part of the cake. She presses her lips together and winds her eyes before starting her way back into the sitting room, Bradley's glass still on her left hand. Interior sitting room continuous. Amelia strolls into the room and time slows as she makes eye contact with Beatrice, who squints at her ever so slightly. Amelia has a little bit of frosting on her lip. Amelia looks away quickly. She hands Bradley his drink. Beatrice sets her drink down briskly and jolts upright and over to Bradley.
Amelia, you've given Bradley a chipped glass.
She swipes it from Bradley's grasp.
Here, take mine. I've had enough.
Beatrice dumps the poisoned champagne in a nearby plant. Amelia glares at Beatrice, and then she looks away, a confused expression on her face, her eyes drooping. Beatrice perks up, noticing Amelia's growing drowsiness.
Naps weren't supposed to happen until after dessert.
Charles blinks rapidly and holds up a hand. Amelia is sinking into the couch, unnoticed.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand. You're selling drugs? Drugs you bought with my capital?
No. I'm selling potential.
Beatrice rolls her eyes, sips her champagne.
Oh, the self-importance is suffocating.
Charles clears his throat. His facial expression is pure malice. Amelia continues to stare sleepily, looking occasionally back and forth between Charles and Bradley. She blinks slowly.
What's gone into Amelia?
The camera scans the entire room, and Beatrice and Amelia sit across from each other. Amelia is passed out on the couch. Beatrice nibbles cheese and crackers.
See you in a bit,
Interior kitchen continuous. Charles and Bradley stand talking by the counter. They face each other, leaning against the counter.
So, how's the love life?
Bradley reaches for the champagne bottle on the counter, turning slightly away from Charles.
You know, a little of Addison, a little of Cornella.
Bradley pours himself a glass of champagne. Charles backs away from him, towards a cabinet. He keeps his eye on Bradley, a growing look of mischief on his face.
I went on a date with a broad named Millie. Or wait, was that Sadie? Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Charles draws a vial and a syringe with a needle from the cabinet and begins prepping a dose of something lethal looking.
They're all awful.
Beatrice enters the room. Charles' head snaps up as he draws the liquid into the syringe, catching Beatrice's gaze. Beatrice stares at Charles. Charles replaces the vial into the cabinet and steps towards Bradley, wielding a syringe. Beatrice's face contorts. She is panicked. She looks from Charles to Bradley, having a realization.
Bradley, Charles, you boys can't just hide in here all night.
Beatrice loops her arm through Bradley's, pulling him away from Charles. Charles grasps Bradley's other arm and glares at Beatrice.
We're in the middle of something, Beatrice. Don't be rude.
Bradley puts his hand on his chest.
Don't fight over me, you two. There's enough Bradley to go around.
Beatrice smiles brightness as she laughs along with him. Bradley turns to face Charles. Beatrice points a finger down her throat and fakes vomits. Charles hastily hides the syringe behind his wrist.
Just come join us in the sitting room for a bit. You two can gossip more later.
She and Bradley walk arm in arm toward the sitting room. Beatrice looks over her shoulder at Charles. Charles glares back and pockets the syringe. Interior sitting room continuous. Amelia is sitting on the couch. There's another champagne bottle on the table.
Beatrice, I haven't thanked you yet.
Beatrice pauses and looks at Bradley inquisitively.
For what?
Beatrice tries to recall something.
You're the link to my new market. A girl named Annabelle brought all of her friends to my party last night. Turns out, she's your sister. She's bought from me a few times.
Beatrice smiles, falls ever so slightly.
She's provided me with a real connection to a new clientele. A few of them were over till early this morning.
Beatrice retracts her arm, disgusted, and steps back, her eyes glazing over.
I'm gonna be sick.
She did cause a slight problem, though. She overdosed in my apartment. It was a mess. I had to throw out my zebra hide rug. Those things cost big money.
Beatrice sits down, her face darkening. She still hasn't blinked.
Was she okay?
Bradley holds up a finger.
Don't interrupt me, Charles. I was in the middle of speaking. I had to figure out what to do with her. Not an ideal start to this evening.
Everyone is staring, mouths aghast, except Amelia, who is still unconscious on the couch. Charles stands looking overly concerned. He faces Beatrice.
Beatrice, you should go see if she's okay.
Charles' brow is furrowed. He steps towards Bradley and he reaches for his pocket. Beatrice notices and her eyes widen.
Listen, I didn't tell her to take so many of them. She was dumb and nearly died. It was disgusting.
New plan.
A look of determination on her face. Beatrice stands and cuts Bradley off.
Bradley, come help me with the dessert in the kitchen.
Charles hurriedly puts the syringe back in his pocket.
Bradley, don't do it. She's trying to kill you.
Beatrice's head snaps. She shoots daggers at Charles with her eyes. Bradley throws his head back and lets out a hearty chuckle. Beatrice turns back towards Bradley, smiling innocently.
Oh yeah, Bradley, come on in the kitchen. I'm gonna kill you. Oh.
These guys. What a kidder. I'll be right in. Let me clean up first.
Bradley holds up his hands and walks out of the room. Beatrice waits until the door swings closed before wheeling on Charles and gripping his arm. Beatrice hisses at Charles as she drags him towards the kitchen.
Have you lost your mind?
Interior kitchen continuous. Charles yanks his arm back, trying to regain control.
Every man for himself. You drugged Amelia.
That doesn't break the rules if Bradley doesn't know.
Beatrice angrily pulls Charles towards the counter.
You'll be lucky if we don't all end up in jail.
Charles rips his arm free from her grasp.
Stay out of my way. I'll take care of this.
With an angry and determined look, Beatrice pulls her arm back and punches Charles in the jaw, knocking him to the ground with a thunk. He grunts. He moves to get back up. Beatrice grabs a slice of cake from the counter in her fist and bends down to shove it into Charles' mouth.
Now keep your mouth shut while I clean up your mess.
She spins on her heels and stalks off into the foyer. Interior foyer continues. Beatrice swipes the duct tape from the seat with her jacket on it, spins sharply, and marches back into the kitchen. Interior kitchen continuous. Beatrice approaches Charles. He's blinking slowly. He has scooted a few feet and is holding it onto the counter, trying to pull himself to his feet. Beatrice rips a piece of tape from the roll, but then notices Charles is near asleep. Charles reaches up to grab Beatrice and mumbles an attempt at a shout to Bradley. She pushes him back to the ground and drags him around the counter. Bradley emerges through the door and stares at the dessert. Beatrice stands up quickly. She goes to the sink to rinse her hands, keeping her back to Bradley.
Beatrice, did you make that? It looks delectable.
Beatrice's back stays to Bradley. Her expression is steely.
I did. Thank you.
Beatrice pulls a knife from the drawer and turns to Bradley. Beatrice's face transitions from stoic to a too sweet smile.
Be a doll and bring the cake over.
Bradley picks up the cake and saunters over to Beatrice. Interior sitting room continuous. Amelia slowly regains consciousness.
Any second now, Amelia will come too.
Amelia stands. She looks around confused.
She'll wonder, where is everybody?
Amelia walks into the kitchen. Interior kitchen continuous. Amelia looks left to see Charles on the ground. She looks right and sees Beatrice and Bradley.
The fact of the matter is, simply, Bradley adds nothing positive to this world.
Beatrice removes the large knife from Bradley's chest with a squish, and he slumps off screen, hitting the floor with a soft thud. She keeps her eyes on him, unfazed, and sets the bloody knife on the counter.
Wake Charles up.
Amelia fills a glass with water and dumps it on Charles' face. He starts awake. He stands shakily. They look down and raise their eyebrows.
Is he dead?
Amelia walks to the other side of Beatrice. Charles moves closer to Beatrice.
Congratulations.
All three look at the bloody body.
This body is going to be difficult to clean up.
Beatrice looks up.
No need to thank me.